Welcome to another episode of Football Tailgaters, where we talk everything about the NFL, including your picks for bets and fantasy. In today's episode, as usual, I have here with me Yams, the Texan Jets fan, Andy, the unbiased football fan, and myself, Aaron, the Cowboys fan. Today, we're gonna talk about a little bit of news, and then we're gonna give some thoughts on our AFC West standings. And predictions as well, who's going to the playoffs and stuff. But as for the news, do you guys want to run it like one news topic at a time and just kind of give our thoughts a little bit and then move on to the next one?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So on the number one list here, we have here Brett Favre saying that he expects a drop off in production from Davante Adams. He got traded to the Las Vegas Raiders. His quarterback is now Derek Carr instead of Aaron Rodgers. And he thinks there's going to be a drop-off in production for him, without Aaron Rodgers, which, for me, that's pretty obvious when you're trying to say, how do you go from, or the top 5 QB, you could even, say, even top 3. That's pretty obvious for top 3. And then you drop down to, it goes down a tier. I don't think Derek Carr's a terrible quarterback. But he does the job. He's the type of quarterback that does the job. He's definitely above Jimmy Garoppolo and that kind of tier, if that makes sense. I think he would be like a tier 2 quarterback. And I think he's going to do the job, of course. He's... I wouldn't say he has trouble with his accuracy at all. I don't know. I just kind of have a tough time trying to figure him out when it comes to, I guess, arguing why he's not really that good. Why wouldn't he be in a tier 1 quarterback? What do you guys think?
Yeah, you said it right on the money, right? It's a pretty obvious statement to say. It's also something you don't need to do research on because it's kind of given. You can't compare the 2 quarterbacks for these 2 teams. You have Aaron Rodgers and you have Derek Carr. Aaron Rodgers is, like you said, top, I don't know, Tom Brady then him. He's a pretty good quarterback, right?
He's top 3.
Yeah, 100%. So obviously, look who's throwing the ball to you now. It's Derek Carr, who's probably, in the top 15, I want to say. You can't compare those 2. Like you said, I can't say he's a horrible quarterback because he's better than average type of quarterback. So yeah, obviously, yes, we're going to see a production drop from Davante Adams compared to what he was used to. If you look at the highlights, for the Green Bay Packers, you just see constantly Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball to number 17. So, and he just threw it right there and right to his hands just when he needed it. So I don't see Derek Carr doing that as often as Aaron, but...
Here's the thing, though. A good comparison is you look at the wide receivers they had in Green Bay Packers compared to the Raiders right now. The Raiders have the better wide receiver, I guess, roster. But, their depth is better. So you could also argue that maybe his production will stay around the same because... he has, I guess, good, good other receivers to kind of complement him.
Yeah, the thing is that, of course, you can't compare quarterbacks with Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr. So Aaron Rodgers just puts the ball right where it needs to go, and that's why he was able to have those big time connections with Davante Adams. And who's Davante Adams replacing? Henry Ruggs, I would assume, if I'm not mistaken, right, guys? The other wide receivers are still there, so Henry Ruggs would be the replacement.
Where'd he go?
He's in jail. In prison.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what jail he's going to.
Okay,
honestly, or what prison he's going to.
I forgot. Yeah, he's in jail.
So, but he didn't have a good season. Actually, he was a little bit hard on himself. He said that he was his worst critic last season because he didn't have that many career touchdowns. He only had 2 touchdowns last regular season. In his whole career with the Raiders, he had 4 total. He was targeted 36 times in the regular season and only caught 24 of them. So, I mean, that's how it opened it up more for the other wide receivers, which is Renfrow. Which again, I know I've said it before. If we're talking fantasy here, I'm excited for Hunter Renfrow because he should be getting a lot more looks now that Davante Adams is there, and defenses are going to have to look into more for Davante Adams than Hunter Renfrow.
He's like a Tyler Lockett type of player where DK Metcalf is like right there, right next to him. I would say it's a pretty similar comparison.
Who are you saying? Oh, like that Ruggs is
Tyler
like Lockett?
DK. No, Hunter Renfrow.
I mean, Hunter Renfrow, yeah. Hunter Renfrow's kind of like
yeah.
Lockett. Oh, yeah,
yeah. With having DK Metcalf next to him,
yeah.
It's gonna be the similar situation where he might drop you like 30 points in fantasy, like or even 40, like once or twice. Because I remember Tyler Lockett was doing that kind of stuff when I picked him up.
But guys. Something that I do have debate in my head is when I look at a team like the Buffalo Bills with Stephon Diggs. I mean, hasn't Josh Allen been criticized that he doesn't have like the most accurate arm, but he connects with Diggs like constantly. Like those two like have really good chemistry, and they don't have like a Hunter Renfrow type of wide receiver. You could have maybe thought of like Cole Beasley, but he's not even there anymore.
Gabriel Davis.
Okay.
He's gone.
Gabriel Davis.
Oh, he's gone?
He's gone.
No way.
He's gone.
That's huge.
Where'd he go? Miami, I think.
No, I can't believe Miami would get him.
No. He went to...
It still says
I'm thinking the wrong person.
Yeah, you're
Move on. I'm thinking of McKenzie.
No, Gabriel Davis is still there.
Yeah, Gabriel Davis.
That guy was huge. That guy was a huge
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of McKenzie.
He stepped up.
But they still had a connection, Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen. So
I picked him up though, and he wasn't doing that good that past season.
Stephon Diggs
doing that good. Yeah. He wasn't doing good.
Man, when I had him 2 seasons ago, that's one of the reasons I won the fantasy league.
That was his peak. That was his peak, and then this one he didn't do as good.
Really?
And Davis kind of filled in that gap for him. Yeah.
So when we compare Josh Allen with Derek Carr, I mean, we'll pick Josh Allen, right, to be the better quarterback. I mean, I would assume that if you guys agree or no.
Yes. Yeah.
You Yams? I know, and try to be unbiased here.
That's why I'm staying quiet.
Well, no, try to be unbiased. Like, do you think Josh Allen is better than Derek Carr?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So it's 3 yeses. So
I shouldn't even hesitate.
So I mean, there might be some people out there that they might think they're a little bit like close to each other, but I mean, it'll be interesting. I still think that Derek Carr and Davante Adams are still gonna connect. Yeah, his numbers are gonna go down, but I still think like the one forward to look at is Hunter Renfrow, and I do agree with Brett Favre. His numbers are definitely going to go down.
Let's walk it back.
And he said it's no diss though.
Let's walk it back. Last year, who did Aaron have as a wide receiver? We had Davante Adams, obviously, right? Can you guys think of anyone else?
Lazard.
Okay.
Cobb.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he did use him.
Yeah, he did. Well, he's old too, isn't he? They brought him back. Well, look, compared to the weapons, compared to the weapons that Raiders have now, and comparing to what he had to work with, Aaron Rodgers had to work with last year, you can see that Davante Adams is now with a better talented team, right? With his team around him.
Right.
So obviously he was the most talented team. He still is, right? He still is. But the separation now is a lot closer to his level. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Well, I still think that defenses are still gonna do like double coverage on Davante Adams.
Obviously. But I'm just saying the level of talent now, it's not such a widespread as it was on.
And I'm saying that it's a good thing.
Yeah,
it's a good thing because he'll get. I guess the defense has to worry about
Right.
Just more other threats that they have. The deep threats and stuff like that. You got the slot receivers as well. That because Renfro plays the slot, right?
Right. He does.
And who's like the other guy that
DeMarcus Robinson.
DeMarcus Robinson. Yeah, that guy's like
DeMarcus Robinson, and then we don't forget also Darren Waller. Yeah.
Darren Waller. Oh yeah.
So I mean,
Josh Jacobs also catches.
With Darren Waller alone,
he had a production that kind of fell off. Darren Waller last season.
Really? No, I didn't think so.
I felt like it.
It's because last season it wasn't like a good season for fantasy for tight ends. for the ones that you would think like Kelsey, Darren Waller, and Kittle.
I had Kittle. He brought me good points.
But it wasn't like consistent though.
It wasn't. But whenever he showed up, he showed up and like beyond expectation. So it made up for it.
He was also injured too. So
true. So to my point is, his production will fall this time around because now there's a team around him that there's more options now, right?
Right.
With Aaron Rodgers, he was the best of the best, right?
And they also had the running game too.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. That is true.
Now, is it gonna be like is he gonna have 100 plus catches?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
So, because his numbers are, this past season was 123 receptions, 2020 was 115, 2019 it was 83, and then 2018 was 111.
Really?
Yeah.
And then before 2018 he's had double digits only.
I don't think it's gonna be as high anymore.
No, I mean he's the reason why I won fantasy last year.
So that's something that's guaranteed. He's not gonna get. Well, at least like that's our prediction. He's not gonna get 100 receptions.
Would you pick him again, Yams, for your first round pick?
Is he a first rounder? So. Yeah,
I think so.
Over Cooper Kupp, really? I shouldn't have said that.
I know it's tough. It's really tough.
No, honestly, for first rounder, like I mean, Cooper Kupp and Davante Adams, I wouldn't blame you to get any of those two guys. So it's not like.
Yeah, you know what? Because this year or last year, I did what I always do is I pick running back first, and so I decided to change it up, and I got a wide receiver, and I was like pick 7 or 8 out of a 12 league team. So when Davante fell to me, I said, all the good quarterbacks running backs. So yeah, Davante Adams would probably be my pick. If Cooper Kupp is there, and I will also pick him up too. I think they're both good, and they're both good teams, and they're both main targets. And I think the quarterbacks that are on that team are pretty decent too. So yeah, but it's a good one. It's a good debate.
Okay, so what about? Okay, we'll move on from that one. I saw yesterday when we were trying to look for some topics to talk about with these news. News drill. I saw that the Miami Dolphins dual cornerback that they have over there with Xavier Howard and Byron Jones, that they're claiming that they're the best in the league, the best duo for cornerbacks in the league. I think that's pretty high praise.
Yeah. It's because, look, when I look up Xavier Howard, his interceptions last year was 5. That's pretty high. But if I were to say, I would have to agree with them. I think they are number 1 for now. But I think right behind them is, I want to say the Browns, Denzel Ward, and the rookie they drafted last year, Greg Newsome. I think they're a big threat coming up next year or the following year. But for now, yeah, I agree. I think they are the best dual cornerback in the NFL. But, I mean, it's really hard because there's a ton of teams that have,
usually they only have each team has a really good one cornerback.
Yeah, and I think that, and I think it's him right now, Howard. You have also the one from Green Bay Packers. He's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Jair Alexander.
Yeah.
But looking at the stats, Byron has 5 interceptions. I'm sorry, Howard has 5 interceptions, and Alexander has 1. So he's a big shutdown corner. Or ball grabber corner. I don't know what you want to call him with 5 interceptions. And the year before that, in 2020, he had 10.
Because I'm trying to find here. What about the Chargers with Asante Samuel and J.C. Jackson?
I mean, it's really good, but you know what? I do think that Miami still maybe be the best cornerbacks.
Better?
Yeah, I would have said maybe the Baltimore Ravens because that's where JC. No, I'm sorry, not Baltimore Ravens.
Marlon Humphrey.
Yeah, Marlon Humphrey. Yeah, Marlon Humphrey is a beast there. But actually, J.C. Jackson came from
Patriots.
From the Patriots, and I think the Patriots had good cornerbacks, and they're not there anymore. So
what I'm seeing the difference is J.C. Jackson. I think what you get from him is consistency, and I think with Howard,
Byron Jones.
Yeah, and Howard, he's kind of blooming like the last 2 seasons, so he's only gonna get better.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if he was injured in 2019. But at least the last 2 years, he's been playing kind of lights out.
Yeah, I would agree. I think they're right as of now. They're like the top because I mean you can also say for me, I just when I think of cornerback, I'm thinking of Jalen Ramsey of Los Angeles Rams. But I mean the other side, I don't think on the other side of the corner is like that amazing with Troy Hill. On the other side and the cornerback, that Troy Hill didn't even have that many what's it called interceptions. He didn't have 0. He had 0 interceptions last regular season. So, and then they did throw the ball more towards him instead of Ramsey. So yeah, I think I do agree with them. They might be the top cornerbacks.
What about the Ravens, though? You were mentioning them, Andy, and you kind of just hovered over Marcus Peters and just, didn't really account him for that. But they got Marcus Peterson
Humphrey.
And Humphrey, yeah.
Yeah, I still think that I think Marcus Peters went down a bit, don't you guys think?
I definitely did, but I don't think it was
that much.
Anything. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I just think, duo, yeah, it's debatable that you can say that there might be better, but I think just the Dolphins are just a little bit better.
Yeah, they could be second place.
Byron Jones is a really good complement cornerback that is kind of like a, not too much of a shutdown corner, but just does swap the ball a lot.
Remind me, is he from Cowboys?
Yeah, he was from the Cowboys. He just got too expensive for them. And they've been struggling on cornerback since he left. They do have Stephon
I think I would have
Diggs.
liked him with Diggs, Trayvon Diggs.
It would have been a really good combo, Trey Diggs and Byron Jones, but
yeah, it would have been great.
But no. And even like Byron Jones, Diggs is not placed as one of the top cornerbacks, even though he had so many interceptions, but he got burnt a lot. So that tells you a lot about, and it's not just about interceptions.
He's a big risk and reward type of guy.
Exactly.
But you see how nobody has the Miami Dolphins as Super Bowl contenders?
Well, no, man, that's because of the quarterback.
Yeah.
They have...
You can have an insane cornerback duo, but
it
doesn't mean you'll win the Super Bowl with that.
That's why it was a little... I believe that those talks with Tom Brady going to Miami, they would have been a Super Bowl ready team, no doubt, as well, with Hill and...
You think it would have been a better defense?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were playing pretty good last year, I think.
They were getting their act together. So I was really surprised with Brian Flores leaving, like being let go, because they were building a really good team. So it is what it is. Like I said before, it's all on Tua.
All right. What about the I think this is stupid, but Andy made me bring this up.
It's news.
Adrian Peterson is fighting against Le'Veon Bell, which I think I read it, but like I was like, okay, this is kind of dumb, and I didn't really look into this at all. They're gonna box each other, It's gonna be an exhibition on July 30th. So at the end of this month. I don't know if you want to explain that, Andy, or something.
Well, I mean, why not? I mean, this boxing phase is happening. There's like people just wanna see some fights, and there's money towards it, and you just have to you just go into the sport once, like I don't know, once or twice, maybe a year, and you get a whole bunch of money. And these players, after their career, what are they going to do unless they want to do like some type of business, opening businesses or real estate, or, manage their money well, or just try to get really big paychecks. And this is a good way to get some paychecks. And so I don't mind them going about and fighting. I know that, what's his name? Greg Hardy went into the UFC and he's won some games. I mean, won some fights, but lost a lot of them.
He sucks. No, he sucks.
Well, I mean, for him to go from the NFL, I do give him his props from going from the NFL to, regardless of his personal drama and everything, he is a big aggression type of individual, and he went into the UFC and he fought and he did win a few, but then lost some, so he does struggle. But I mean, go get your money, man. If that's something that you can that you can do, go for it. I don't mind it. I'm gonna be watching. I'll tell you guys that I'll be watching that fight. Why not?
It's pay-per-view?
Probably. But I mean, hopefully there's some other fights. I mean, look at those Paul brothers, the social media brothers. They make a ton of money from those fights. I mean, we saw Logan Paul fight Mayweather and they made a lot of money. So I'm all about, if you know how to like manage the system, about figuring out a way of marketing yourself to be able to get a big payday, go for it, and good for you guys. Hopefully they do a good show.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's not leave it just to the Pauls, right? The Pauls are great entertainment. Also, why not? We can see two former NFL players, duke it out and see who wins. I'm all for entertainment. If they need to make the money, make the money. If this is the way they need to make the money, then go for it. So the odds here is LeVeon Bell's a huge favorite to win against Adrian Peterson. I'm pretty surprised that he is the favorite. I think Adrian Peterson's huge. Is a huge guy. I think he would knock out LeVeon Bell quickly and fast, but maybe because he's younger, LeVeon Bell's probably faster. So
I have no clue on their boxing skills, like zero clue. Honestly, like whatever, man. I wouldn't even bet on this one because zero clue of what's gonna happen.
True. I just thought it was more for me, right? Peterson would be more the favorite, but I was kind of surprised to learn that Bell is the favorite.
Yeah, Peterson looks more jacked, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So, but you're right. It's all comes down to boxing and jabs and stuff like that. We'll see. Be entertaining to watch at least.
I'll just watch the highlights and I'll be like, nice. All right, cool. Anyways. We'll move on to the Cowboys. Again, Yams is pretty excited about that one. We're going to talk about their kicker a little bit. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. I don't even know if I want to try it.
I think it's Lirim Hajrullahu.
Hajrullahu. Lirim Hajrullahu.
That's how I can read it, but I might be completely wrong.
Well, they're going to have a kicking competition with Jonathan Gariay. Gariay?
With Jonathan.
Jonathan?
Yeah.
The point is, the Cowboys have been struggling with their kickers lately, and it's pretty frustrating because they've had some really embarrassing moments throughout the years with their kickers. They can't seem to find a good kicker, and they're really struggling. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's this season, or I don't know, who knows. But they released Greg Zuerlein because, he's not good. And I mean, they need help with the kicker. They need to find a good one. And they need one that can just do the job, because it's one of the most, I guess, I wouldn't say tedious things to do is to find a kicker. It's just very intricate, because it's not really easy to find a kicker, because you find one, they last you some years. You got Tucker with the Ravens, what's his name, the one from the Colts, Adam Vinatierian or something
Mhm.
like that. And then who was also like I guess Goskowski or something like that from the Patriots. It's very rare to find.
Well, you
I
had
guess like
you
a
had Dan
diamond in the rough.
Bailey.
No, Dan Bailey for the Cowboys saved them a lot.
Dan Bailey was good.
But
Yeah.
that was what, like 2016, 2015?
Well, he's still in
and
the. Isn't he the kicker for the
Yeah,
Vikings still?
Vikings.
and not that good.
He
That's
is.
not
I
that
think he
good.
still has saved them a few times too. He wasn't as good as he was before, but yeah, you know something, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this topic up. I mean, no, I know it's not big time news or whatever, but something that I don't understand why NFL teams don't do this is how come you don't like put like more emphasis on the kickers. Like if I was a general manager for a team, I would have so many like kicking competitions from like college players, Canada players, soccer players, Europe football players, like so many of them.
Yeah.
And because it's so important to have a kicker because a lot of these games come down to the kicker, like a whole bunch of them. That's how.
But you kind of answered your question though.
Tell me how.
It takes up too much time because they got a lot more things to worry about in other places.
No, man. I mean, you have your special teams
Yeah, you're your
coaches.
special teams coach.
You
They
have
should
your-
be the ones to focus on that.
Exactly. I mean, I know that I'm busy doing other positions. I'm not going to put all my focus, but I'm going to tell the scouts, the scouts and the special teams coaches, I want you guys, I mean, you can rent whatever feel like you need to get. I mean, it's the Cowboys or whatever teams, and just have so many of them and fly these people over. It's a really good investment to get a good kicker because a lot of these games fall down to the kicker. That's how the Raiders went to the playoffs because of their kicker. And a lot of other teams we've seen it so many times that it comes down to the kicker and those and that field goal or the extra point or whatever it is. But that's my thing. So the Cowboys in this situation, they got a rookie kicker from Texas Tech, Jonathan Gariay. I'm sorry, I'm butchering his name. And then they're bringing back the other kicker that when Greg Zuerlein got injured, he came in and he did some good field goals. So it's like I would just have a big time kicking competition until I find my kicker. You know what I mean? A lot of these kickers are horrible for a lot of these teams, and they lose because of the kicker. So that's just my point.
So who's the former
Well,
Canadian football kicker?
Canadian.
Canadian.
What do you mean?
Oh, you don't know your football news? It says the former football league kicker to join Jonathan Gariay. Is that the Lirim Hajrullahu?
Oh yeah, the kicker for the that the Cowboys got to
Yeah, the one that
compete.
they're trying to.
I didn't know that he
Mhm.
was from Canada. I really didn't.
Yeah,
I
he
didn't know.
is. And there's one from Texas Tech. I don't know which one is.
Yeah, that's the rookie, the Jonathan Gariay.
Gariay is from Texas Tech.
Is from Texas Tech, correct? He's a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
So then one of them, which is the one with the last name none of us can pronounce.
Lirim.
Lirim, well, that's his first name. Lirim, he ended up playing for the Panthers towards the end of the last season of 2021 and made 4 out of 5 field goals for Carolina. And they re-signed him back to have a competition with Jonathan, who's a Texas Tech.
Right. No, I'm just very passionate about that opinion, about the emphasis that teams should put
They
more on their
should. It's really
kickers.
important.
It's super important.
Yeah.
And for your team, Yams, for the Jets, like I would put a lot of emphasis on the kickers because you got burned. Like the Jets get burned a lot because of their kicker. With the Cowboys have been kind of lucky and in many years with their kickers. I remember when they had Nick Foles in his prime years, and he was like a rock star there. And then he had a downfall. And then you had Bailey, and Bailey had a lot of good years. Those a few years with Grammatica, those were really good years until they fall down. I do understand that, but I mean, you have to have a kicker ready. I'm sure that any kicker would be happy just to be on the practice squad or just waiting for that call. Like honestly,
Yeah, we had a really good kicker. His name was Jason Myers. They couldn't pay him, so he ended up with the Seahawks.
Like, are you kidding me? Why wouldn't you pay him? I mean, it's super important. They're the ones that give you points.
But do you know who the next kicker for the New York Jets is?
No, I don't. But have you noticed that there's teams like when the kicker's not making them, they start going for it on 4th down and just putting more pressure on the offense? Like, what is that? Are you guys not ready to have a good kicker? Like, it's really frustrating.
Well, back to your point, right? They got Greg Zuerlein.
The Jets?
Yes.
Like,
what?
So they don't have
Good
time
luck.
for competition. They're just gonna get the next man. You're the next guy up. Let's go ahead and.
It's so stupid. Yeah, no, Andy brings up a great point with that. I think there needs to be an emphasis on kickers again, if there ever was. I mean, I feel like there was a really good time of them, and now it just seems they're just kind of like, now, whatever, whoever's up next, and if we got a good guy, we got a good guy.
yeah, unless I'm super ignorant, and being a field goal kicker is like super hard to find like some talent. But I mean, there's a whole bunch of colleges.
I feel like it could be.
I mean,
I feel like it could be.
It could be, yeah. It could be a factor. But I mean, there's so many colleges out there. There's so many soccer players, football, or if you want to call it football, the real name of that sport. So I don't know. I just think that there should be a lot of emphasis. But whatever. Like, I mean, are you kidding me? The Jets getting Greg Zuerlein, and they've been seeing him struggle. But now let's just bring him in for the competition or whatever. Like, are you? No.
That's just how it is.
No.
That's how. You know what? Hey, it worked out when we got Nick Folk. After the Cowboys dumped him, we picked up Nick Folks, and he was like doing great. So maybe it's gonna be the same thing here with Greg Zuerlein. We'll
it
wait
Folk
and see.
or Foles?
No, Folk.
Folk.
Foles is the
Okay.
quarterback.
Yeah,
Folk.
my bad. Nick Folk. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But yeah, that's my end of my rant there.
Well, more about the Jets here. I didn't even know this was true, but we have here saying that the New York Jets have more bets on them to win the AFC East than the New England Patriots. I don't feel like I'm like I feel like that's a good chance to be true, but it'll be very close, I think.
Maybe the payout is just amazing if you bet for the Jets. What is the bets? I mean,
I guess it's like $10.
Like I think maybe it's just like, oh man, because the Jets have had a lot of hype.
Yeah.
That it could even hinder them or hurt them of all of this hype. Yeah, they had an amazing draft, but what else is new? I mean, no, it's not what else is new. Like, yeah, it's not. It's good for them that they had a good draft. Let me just put it there. And that's it. Basically, there's no veteran help. I mean, it's just too soon to tell if they're actually going to be good. But if they have a lot of hype on them, and maybe that just people gets excited, and then they see the payouts on these bets, and they're like, oh, well, this might be really a good chance for me to get some big time payday.
Right. So according to DraftKings Sportsbook, the New York Jets, this is the wage. I don't know how, or the bet, or the odds. I don't know how you say this. Plus 2,200. Have more bets to win. Yes, have more bets to win the AFC East than the New England Patriots, who are plus 500.
Yeah. So the Patriots are more favorite. And that's what I'm trying to say, that the Jets, they're putting more bets on the Jets because I'm thinking that they're getting a lot of hype for them to think that they do have a good chance to win the AFC East and to get a big payday. It's like one of those secret bets, like if you know type of thing. And so that's what I think people are doing right now, that they have a really good chance of winning the AFC East and they're going to get a big payday.
You know what? It's because I don't think. Yeah, you're right. I don't think there's lots of faith in Patriots winning either. So yeah, if I'm gonna spend $100 on the Jets and it's a jackpot lottery, if they make it, they make it. If not, I lost $100.
Especially if they have this hype around them that people are talking about them. So like, yeah, of course. I mean, right now the favorites is Buffalo. So
easy money would be Buffalo.
I mean, yeah, but it's not like a big payday. It's like, oh
no,
yeah.
it's not a big payday.
Yeah.
But easy money is Buffalo.
But Vegas does have the Patriots having more of a chance than the Jets.
Where are the Dolphins at in this then?
Nowhere because of Tua.
But no, like what? No, because this could be like the second best option if you're trying to go for like a crazy bet that they could win the AFC.
No,
East.
that's very true. It's just the situation of also who do you have more faith on Tua or Zach Wilson?
Yeah, who do you have more faith in?
It's for me.
It's the whole
Yeah, for
team.
you.
It's the whole team.
It is the whole team, right? But also the quarterback
is the most important
exactly.
position.
It's important.
So you feel more comfortable or who to bet on because of the quarterback. Like the Chargers. I mean, if you bet for the Chargers, you feel a little bit like good because of the quarterback. But if you picked the Cleveland Browns, you don't feel so good because of Baker Mayfield. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just my opinion.
So to answer your question, Aaron, it's 450 plus 450 for Miami.
Oh, wow. So actually, the Buffalo is favorite. Then it's Miami. Then it's the Patriots. And then way down is
below
the
is
Jets.
the Jets. But again, like you're dreaming.
You're dreaming.
But there's a lot of bets coming in for the New York Jets. So that means there's a lot of positivity. There's lots of hope that they'll actually
you guys
win.
come out of nowhere.
I mean, it can happen.
Yeah, and it's
it
like
can
I'm
happen.
saying.
Look at the Bengals from one year to the next. Boom.
It's mostly for the people that know that go get into the NFL betting like before the season, and they are just like setting their bets up. And since they're like seeing all this news and all this hype, they got a little excited. It's like, hey, well, I'm gonna get a big payday because I am reading that the Jets are ready. There's a lot of analysts that are talking really well about the Jets, even though it's right now it's all nonsense because it's just something to say before the season until the season starts and we see what's going on. But yeah, I mean, it's a way to get a good payday with little risk.
Yeah, now I'm feeling happy, so I think I'm gonna bet.
See what I mean?
Yeah, I'm feeling really positive about this. I think I should bet at least, fun money. $100.
Yeah, maybe it's all a bunch of New York people are just betting on it.
Well, how about I just dollar cost average into this?
Oh my gosh.
It could happen. I mean, think about it. It can happen.
Dollar cost average.
They could win it. I'm actually thinking about it.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Okay. I'll stop being hopeful because it happens to me every year, and then I end up breaking a TV at the end of the season. So.
Luckily, you won the fantasy to get us a new TV.
Right.
Oh gosh. I think they have good odds. I like those numbers. I'm pretty hyped. I'm on the hype train too. I like that team. I think they're definitely underdogs for sure. I think they're definitely gonna do better than what they are, I guess, logically expected to come out as.
Yeah, we'll see. It has to be, the answers have to come through the head coach. Robert Saleh needs to step up. Also, Zach Wilson needs to step up. Joe Douglas, I think he's done a good job with the draft. Of course, they're rookies, right? We don't know if they're going to be good or if they're going to be busts. But, everything's pointing signs to the Jets improving.
Alrighty, awesome. And then the last thing we got here to talk about is we last mentioned this on the last podcast that we had the other day. We started getting into the AFC West a little bit, and you guys made some outrageous comments on the Chargers and where they're gonna stand in. So we're gonna be talking about the AFC West standings, and I'm gonna let you guys talk first, just so I can hear what kind of crazy talk you guys had about them.
It was one of the hardest ones for me.
For sure, this is the hardest
super
division,
hard.
Yeah.
It was really difficult, and I was deleting, I was removing, I was changing my mind. It was really hard for me to rank these teams because they're all equally, in my opinion, they're all really good. They all did massive improvements, and I think they're all Super Bowl contender teams. And they might even all end up in the playoffs. It's just so difficult for me to decide, and for me, it's kind of crazy. So I'll just say my order, and then I'll change it a bit. So my number one is, I feel like I'm going to get in trouble for this.
That's just your opinion.
Denver Broncos.
Go for it. And then
I have Denver Broncos going number 1. They have a good team. They have Javonte Williams. They added Randy Gregory. They have Cortland Sutton. They have Jerry Jeudy instead of Jill. The major quarterback here. The biggest move here is the quarterback. They got Russell Wilson. Let's ride. They got rid of Vic Fangio. Now he's gone. So they got the former defensive coordinator from Colts? Patriots? No, Green Bay. Daniel Hackett. At number 2, I have Kansas City. They did lose Tyreek Hill, but they did get Juju, and they did get Valdez Scantling. I'm not saying that right. They did also a decent draft class this year. They got Sky Moore, the wide receiver. So I think Chiefs know how to draft good wide receivers. CH needs to step up. I think he will. Kelsey's still there, so I think Patrick Mahomes will continue to rely a lot on Kelsey. So I have them number 2. The only thing I have them number 2 is because they have to play the Bucs, the Bills, plus their own division, which is tough enough as it is. Number 3, I have Chargers. They had a good draft. I love Herbert. I think he's a great quarterback. He's a star, obviously. They still have Keenan Allen. They signed Williams. It's just, for me, what happened to the Chargers for me is, they also signed Khalil Mack. Plus, they have Bosa already on that team. They got J.C. Jackson, who had 8 interceptions last year, and the Chargers alone had 7. So they did a massive upgrade on the defense. My problem with the Chargers is that they kind of remind me of the Cowboys, where they're always kind of hyped up to be potentially good, but somehow they just kind of break people's hearts and not make the playoffs or not do anything. So that's why I have them number 3. I don't know what kind of curse they have on them, but they always kind of end up breaking people's hearts and not meeting their expectations. Number 4, I have Raiders. I had Raiders because I just don't know about the head coach, Josh McDaniels. I know he was a head coach before. They have a good roster, and I just have them number 4 because, honestly, it's just a hard division. It was really hard for me to rate these teams. These teams can all just change on us just drastically, and just orders just going to be whack. So if I had to do my own change, I would swap Denver for moving them down to the 3rd, and Chargers to number 1. Chargers have a great team. It's just if they're able to make good decisions and game time decisions, I think they could be a great team. It's just, I just don't know.
Man. Well, I mean, I can't blame your order. I'm just checking what you're drinking. It's just club soda, right? Okay, I'm just checking.
I need a refill.
All right. I don't blame your order. So I mean, first of all, the number 1 I would pick is Kansas City. I know that you said Denver Broncos because of Russell Wilson, but again, I'm a big time Russell Wilson fan, big time. But we don't know if he is still has that caliber talent that he had before. I know that he had some struggles with the Seahawks, and I still like how he plays with the Seahawks, even last year when he struggled. And he's a monster competitor as well. But it's going to be interesting to see him over here in the Broncos because they still have trouble with that offensive line. I mean, Drew Lock was always being hit all the time. So it's going to be hard for me to say that they're the number 1 overall. So Kansas City Chiefs, it's Patrick Mahomes. That team has been winning that division, and I'm going to keep them there until somebody can show up and take that division title from them. They still have Patrick Mahomes, top 3 quarterback, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, however you want to rank them. And then you have a decent running back with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm suspect of Juju Smith-Schuster, but Mecole Hardman, he's still a really good wide receiver for Patrick Mahomes. Marcus Scantling, I don't know what to think of him with the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm sure that he'll do fine. Travis Kelce, he's still the security blanket for Patrick Mahomes, a big-time tight end. I think he's the best tight end in the league. And I mean, the coach is established. Everything is still pretty well with that team. So it did hurt them that Tyreek Hill left, and also Pringle. But I mean, they still have a really good offense. So I'm still going to keep them as number one. Then I would say the Denver Broncos because of Russell Wilson, but it's just a big question mark. And like you're saying, it's kind of hard to like rank these teams because of the situation. And I'm very nervous about that offensive line and how Russell Wilson can maneuver that if he had a big problem with the offensive line in Seattle. So, but in Denver, they have Javonte Williams, which he's a decent running back. Cortland Sutton, good wide receiver. Jerry Jeudy as well. Tim Patrick, underrated wide receiver in my opinion. And the defense is also pretty good as well. I mean, they have Bradley Chubb, of course, and Patrick Surtain as cornerback, and safety Justin Simmons, and also Kareem Jackson. And Randy Gregory from the Cowboys. So they also beefed up in their defense. So it's pretty good. So I have them as number 2, but they can easily fall down. It all comes down into Russell Wilson because that's just a little nerve-wracking there. Number 3, I have the Chargers, and I am also a huge Justin Herbert fan. He's just a talent that I really hope that the Chargers don't like let it slip through their fingers and take advantage of this talent, just like Detroit with Matthew Stafford had. So Justin Herbert, he's a big-time quarterback. He does have Keenan Allen, monster wide receiver, running back Austin Eckler, one of the top running backs of the league. Mike Williams is a really good wide receiver as well. I don't know about their tight end, Gerald Everett. He has been so many years with the Rams, and then he went to the Seahawks last year, and now he's over here. I don't know what to think too much of that. If they had a better tight end, I would feel a little bit better for them, but I don't know. And they beefed up their defense. Like Aaron was saying earlier, I mean, Khalil Mack, that was a big time signing, and also J.C. Jackson as cornerback. So I have them number 3, but this team can really surprise everybody and just go either number 2 or even maybe number 1. I agree with you, Yams, there. And number 4, I do have the Raiders. Even though they have a really good team on paper, Derek Carr, I don't know what's going on with Derek Carr that I can't just put him as a top tier quarterback or like, oh yeah, he's going to win a Super Bowl type of thing. I mean, he is a good quarterback, but I still have some issues there. I mean, maybe if I do see him like have a run, a playoff run, maybe I would give him a little bit more respect at quarterback. But on paper, this team is a monster. They have Davante Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller, and they have the defense with Max Crosby. Chandler Jones came in, so it's just a really good team on paper. But like Yams was saying before, Josh McDaniels has been a head coach before. It's like, prove it to me if you were able to do it. I mean, it's a good that he got a second chance. He does deserve a second chance, but he didn't do a really good job as a head coach with the Denver Broncos. There's some coaches that are just good at being coordinators, but not as head coaches. You, Aaron, can see that with Jason Garrett. And it's just to prove it to me, to see if he can actually do it. So that's my ranking. I have first the Chiefs, 2 Broncos, 3 Chargers, and 4 Raiders.
Well, you have the last 2 matching mine. You just have.
Yeah, don't get too excited.
Okay, all right. Let me just say something. I have Kansas rated number 2 only because they do face the Bills, the Bucks, and the Bengals. And Denver does not.
That's a good point.
And I also said that if Chargers can get it together, which I think it's a high possibility that they can, I have absolutely Denver coming down to 3 and Chargers going back to, going to number 1.
Yeah, Chargers head coach, if he doesn't get to playoffs, he might be in the hot seat to be fired.
Right. It's a head coach. It's a head coach problem. It's a poor decision, game time decisions that hurts them. Their defense hurt them last year. They did fix that this year, so we'll see if that helps. But yeah.
Okay. Well, I did find surprising that Yams gave Broncos number 1. That's very high praise. And you guys, I want to point out, you guys are putting Justin Herbert all the way up there. You guys talk about how quarterback is very important to a team, and you were praising the hell out of that guy, and you put them at number 3.
Well, yeah.
Where does that make sense?
Well, because
where does that make sense?
Because I still think Russell Wilson is better than Herbert, and Patrick Mahomes is better than Herbert. It's easy as that.
Okay. All right, but here we go. Get this, right? The Broncos O-line, awful.
Yep.
Chargers O-line, not awful. It's that simple.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that they're amazing offensive line. I mean, they are slightly better. Yeah, I would.
Not awful.
But not awful.
Not awful.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Broncos O-line, awful.
Yeah.
There you go. So, I think that because I was looking at the strength of schedule, and the Chiefs have the hardest one by far. So I wouldn't put them at number 1. It's easy to say to put them at number 1, but we can all, agree that they had the biggest downgrade in the wide receiver core for sure. And we don't know what Juju Smith-Schuster. I would put, if by the way, I'm going by their additions and how overall their team is just great, I would put the Chargers at number 1. Because their schedule isn't the hardest. It's actually more so like around average, close with the Broncos. The Broncos have the easiest schedule out of the whole AFC West. So that's just a little bit of a gimme. But that's why I'm putting them last place for the Broncos. But I'm not saying they're going to go 7-10 like they did last season.
That makes no sense. They have the easiest. Okay, go ahead.
The reason why is because they still have to deal with their own division, and I think the Broncos have the biggest chance to be the worst in the division of winning and losing. I think they just might have a chance to win 2 games against either the 3 teams, and I think they're more likely to win it against the Raiders because, even though they got a definitely solid team and they added, probably the best receiver.
Well,
Aaron, in the league.
If let me just ask you a question because I don't know at what level you like Russell Wilson as a quarterback. If you put Tom Brady into the Denver Broncos, would you still put him last?
No, I'd probably put him like second.
You would put him like second? Okay.
Yeah.
Even Aaron Rodgers?
I'd put him first if it was Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. So basically you don't have too much respect for Russell Wilson, in other words.
I do. It's just look at what happened when he had a bad offensive line with the Seahawks. He got injured and now he's gone because it's just an awful team. And he went to a more like a better a team that's developing and it's only going up.
Okay, and the
defense, Seahawks are going down.
The defense for the Broncos, what do you think of them?
I think they're a good team. I think they might be like a better defense. They're definitely a better defense than the Raiders. And even the Chiefs, I would say. But number 1, the defense is Chargers without a single doubt, dude. Without a doubt. They got the most stacked out of the whole teams, okay? I just want to say that. And then I would probably put the Broncos or the Raiders. It's kind of close. And then I would put the Chiefs last for their defense, right? And the problem is that these teams have way more experience, and the rest of the Broncos don't. You just added an extremely good quarterback that has to mesh well with these guys, and they gotta lift them up a little bit. He's gotta lift them up. I think they're gonna have a rocky start, and then they're gonna probably go off on a good streak, and end up probably somewhere maybe getting 10 wins. I would say more likely 9 wins, because it's just kind of tough with these guys. Because of what's been going on, as they've been developing. They've been improving their roster, right? They got a good, what's it called? Running back, I guess, duo, you could say. But, I mean, it's just a season that they're going to have to figure out first. That's why I'm not giving them that much hope. I'm not saying that they're going to, for sure, be last place. I think if they figure things out and if they really do click, they could be second place. I don't think they're going to be first. I don't see them going first place at all. I think it's just too hard for them. It's very high expectations, And Russell Wilson is a great quarterback. I think he is definitely, in the argument to be top 5 right now, easily. But it's just kind of tough when your team is just very young, inexperienced. You got the worst offensive line in the whole division, close to the Raiders, I would say. But it's just you can't really back it up because everything's too shaky with that team. And with the Chargers, yeah, I mean, they have some weird thing that goes on that it's just kind of bad luck that they have going on. But they finished, where are they? They finished 3rd place and only by 1 win. They were off by 1 win with the Raiders 2nd place. The Raiders went 10-7, and then the Chargers went 9-8. And they've only improved. So they're getting better. They're settling down. They're looking to make that push, and that's what they're doing. That's why they got those big additions. They even added I know he's not a big addition, but it's depth. They added Calvin Noy. That guy was with the Patriots, and then they moved on with the Dolphins. He's a pretty solid linebacker. They secured J.C. Jackson. They got one of my favorite defensive players, Khalil Mack, is just an absolute beast. And like I said, we were talking about earlier, they got a pretty deadly dual cornerback. And they got a decent safety positions back there. So they got the best defense overall. And defense wins games, dude. It's pretty good. Look at, I don't want, it's going to be a terrible comparison, but I'm just saying in general of how that could help out. The Cowboys defense was doing wonders for the team. You could say they were the highlights compared to the offense. The defense was just doing way more than the offense. Yeah, but you found yourself frustrated with the Cowboys offensively, but defensively, you had Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs making insane plays, and they were more of the highlights than the offense.
But usually the Seattle Seahawks goes to the playoffs, right? And the defense for the Seattle Seahawks, that hasn't been great for the last, 3-4 years, and they still managed to get into the playoffs. So imagine Russell Wilson with a better defense and maybe some
downgraded wide receivers.
Downgraded wide receivers. I mean, yeah, you can make that
Well, I would say it's an upgrade for the running backs, but it's not that much. But it's not anything crazy.
How you're saying that the defense helps, I mean, I think it would help Russell Wilson to continue getting into that level and continue going to the playoffs. Just because of the defense.
No, I agree. It was a smart move. I'm just saying, you guys are saying they're not. I'm not saying that they're gonna be a bad team as long as he's there. I'm saying that they need to figure it out. It's gonna be a fresh new environment. Russell Wilson has spent his whole career with the Seahawks. You gotta let things figure out, and I think you can't get your hopes up on that team because it just might not click. It's that simple. Not everything's perfect. Just because everything might seem perfect, it's not gonna be a guarantee. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. I'm not saying he went to a worse situation. I think he made a smart move, and he's going to a team that's around the same level but going upwards. They're only trending up right now, and the Seahawks are trending down. So he jumped off the train when he had the best chance, and he's going somewhere better. He's only 33 years old. He's aging a little bit. He's got his injuries, but he still has some time to go through, and he's got to do it really soon. And this is the best scenario, is what I was saying. But I don't think they're gonna be a first place on this division.
Well, that was Yams.
You see what I'm saying?
That was Yams.
That was me. It was really hard for me. I really wanted to put Chargers in there. I just don't have a lot of faith in the team because. And you're right. They haven't lost any potential.
They got the most inexperienced quarterback, but he's blooming.
He is. He's a great quarterback. And you're right. They have nothing. They haven't lost any good players. I don't believe. They've only added, right? They've only improved, exactly. Right? And it's just one of those things where there's just poor decisions, and I blame that on the head coach, and that's why I didn't want to be on the hype train with Chargers again. You know what I mean? I'd rather put my hype train on Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos because I think that Russell Wilson is a workaholic, even though that he is new to the team. He will do everything possible to make sure he has that chemistry with that team, even if it works overtime. It's just his character. It's in his nature to be that competitive and to be that of a good quarterback. I just have more faith in Russell Wilson figuring it out than the Chargers figuring it out.
Well, the problem is it's the biggest worry for the Chargers is the coaching staff, right? And for the Broncos, you have to see how the whole team flows all together, because you got to think about the coaching staff as well. You got to think about the defense and offense, how they mesh well together as well. It's just they had good additions, but they're still figuring it out. Is what I'm saying. It's too early to call. Still.
I think the Denver Broncos, and I can be completely wrong in this opinion or this theory, is that they're giving Russell Wilson a little bit the keys to formulate and build and help build this team, kind of like Tom Brady, because that's how Russell Wilson got all excited. Well, if Tom Brady can do all that, like,
let's ride.
Let's ride. Let's give like, that's maybe one of the reasons why they give him a little bit the keys to Russell Wilson to be able to do his thing. So it'll be interesting. I can be completely wrong in this theory.
And that's why I'm saying they're gonna start off rocky. It's not gonna be the greatest start. They're not gonna click right away, and they might go off on a really good streak mid-season.
I disagree. I still think they're gonna be number one. I agree with you. Kansas City is doing nothing but going down. I mean, maybe they won't even be number 2. Maybe they'll be number 3. Chargers will be number 2, and then Kansas City be number 3. Where I feel more confident is Raiders being number 4. I don't know what is it about them. It's just I don't have a lot of faith in the Raiders, but I do think that it's just a tough division. Honestly, this can all change. This can all change as, we get closer, as, we start playing the games. It's a hard division, and I think we're arguing on something that we're all going to be completely wrong, because this whole division is stacked with.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, yeah, for sure. It's just too close to call, I guess. But my rankings are Chargers number 1. I would maybe put the Chiefs number 2, and not that far off, the Broncos, and then probably Raiders last. But that's if the situation with Russell Wilson really gets figured out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's my thoughts. But if they really if they bump into a lot of issues here, the Raiders can easily take up the number 2 or 3 spot, because they do have an improvements in defense and offense, obviously.
Right.
And they're definitely capable of going to the playoffs, but they're going to be a close 2-3 seed, and then I would put the Broncos last, because that's how I think it's going to go.
Oh my God.
I'm not saying they're gonna go 7-10 or
No,
anything
no.
horrible.
Yeah.
I'm saying they're gonna probably go like 9-8.
It's just, for me,
'Cause, I mean,
the Kansas City have the tough schedule. They have to play Bucks, Bills, Colts. So, and I think Raiders too. They also have one of the harder schedules as well. With Kansas City.
Okay, so we might see this situation be kind of like the AFC North, how it was last season. It was really close.
Mm-hmm.
It was 10-7, 9-7, 8-9, 8-9. We might see the same thing here.
Right.
I don't think anyone in the AFC West is gonna get 6 games or less, win 6 games or less. I don't think any of them. I think the most likely would probably be either the Raiders or Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, no, they're just too close.
It is, yeah. And I think they're all going to split a game against each other.
It's going to be pretty even.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I don't see any of them kind of just wiping out. I just don't see it.
They're probably going to win at home one.
Right, one at home, and they're going to split the...
The Chiefs were 5-1 in the division last season. So losing Tyreek Hill.
I mean, for me, it's proven. That's why I have him number 1. I think they'll figure it out. Andy Reid is like the best coach in that division.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's tough.
Mhm.
I think it'll be kind of a number 2, number 3 situation for the Chiefs. Even number 1, they're totally
So,
capable
Aaron,
of being
can
number
you-
1. But that defense is shaky.
Can you rank your teams again?
He did.
It's Chargers 1,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would go probably. Like I said, if all goes well, I would probably put the Broncos number 2, and then Chiefs 3, and Raiders 4. But if Broncos don't figure it out, I would put them last, and I would put the Chiefs 2nd, and then the Raiders 3rd.
Yeah.
I just don't agree with
I don't-
Broncos going last. First of all, they have one of the easier schedules between all the 4 teams
I thought
there.
he said Broncos is number 2.
Did he? I think.
If it all works well with Wilson.
But if it doesn't,
I'm going with the other side. Yeah, I'm going with the. I don't think it's gonna be great right away. I think they're gonna have a rocky start, and they're gonna have a better second season, and that's why I'm putting the Broncos last.
so who's the worst coach in this division?
For me, it would be the Broncos one, maybe, because this is the first time that he has. So it's like a,
Yeah.
show me,
Mm-hmm.
you know. I know Josh McDaniels. He's just getting a lot of praise because he's coming from the Patriots, even though he already was a head coach and didn't do so well with the Denver Broncos. But we'll see. And then you have the Chargers head coach, which he has not an amazing success, but he's getting better every year. So we'll see.
Yeah, I found a website, or I found an article where they just kind of rank each, I guess, like running backs, quarterbacks, offensive line, and stuff like that for the AFC West, and they go by like how many points they get, and they go because they use tight ends, wide receivers. I think they focus on the offense: tight ends, wide receiver, running backs, offensive line, and quarterback. So this is a AFC West offensive ranking, and they have them going like Chiefs number 1, Chargers number 2, Raiders number 3, Broncos number 4.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's gonna be really close, really, really close.
Yeah, really close. One game difference.
I wouldn't be surprised if most of these teams get into the playoffs.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think they all
Like in the NFC West, that's how it happened in the NFC West. The Cardinals, the Rams, and the 49ers all went to the playoffs.
Mhm. Mhm.
Might see the flip side. Yeah. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode, I think, unless you guys have anything else to say.
Let's ride. No, that's it. I don't have anything else to say. I think it's going to be great seeing these two teams fight it off in the AFC West.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Cool. Well, yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. You can find us out on our social medias with Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, football_tailgaters. But yeah, until next episode, thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.